Today, I will try to give you a basic idea about steam power station. A steam power station is also known as thermal power plant. This power generating plant basically works on Rankine cycle. Here, steam is produced in the boiler by coal combustion in furnace. This steam is then expanded through turbine blades. The turbine shaft is prime mover of alternator. Due to this steam pressure, the prime mover of alternator rotates. After expansion, the steam is condensed in steam condenser, and then it again fed to boiler. The rotation of rotor in alternator produces electrical power. These power stations do have some advantages, due to which thermal power plants are most conventional plant for producing electrical power. Such as, number 1, the fuel is coal, and coal is quite cheap in price. Number 2, it involves lesser initial and capital cost compared to hydro and nuclear power plants. Number 3, it involves less space compared to hydro power plant. But, in addition to these, thermal power plants do have two major disadvantages. Number 1, it pollutes atmosphere much due to release of large amount of smoke and fumes. Number 2, its running cost is higher than hydro power plant. This power station mainly involves 7 major arrangements. 1. Coal handling plant. 2. Steam generating plant. 3. Steam turbine. 4. Alternator. 5. Water feeding arrangement. 6. Cooling arrangement. And lastly, the ash handling arrangement. Let us discuss these points in brief one by one. The coal is first transported to the power plant. Then, this coal is stored in coal storage plant. From this coal storage plant, coal is delivered to the coal handling plant. Here, first coal is pulverized. Pulverization is required because it increases thermal efficiency of the coal. This pulverized coal is then fed to the boiler furnace by belt conveyors. The coal is burnt into furnace and produce sufficient heat. Now, come to the steam generating plant. The heat produced in the furnace is utilized to convert water into steam in boiler. The flue gases from furnace make their journey through superheater, economizer, air preheater, and they are finally exhausted to atmosphere through chimney. The steam produced in the boiler is not fully dried. That is why it has to pass through a superheater, where the steam becomes fully dry and superheated much above the boiling temperature of water by the flue gases on their way to chimney. The superheated steam is then delivered to the turbine. After passing through superheater, the flue gas still have some heat energy in it. Some portion of this remaining heat is utilized to heat up feed water to the boiler. Feed water passes through economizer before fed to the boiler. Here the temperature of feed water is increased by extracting heat from flue gases. After extracting heat in economizer, there is still some remaining heat in the flue gases, which can be further utilized to increase the temperature of air before feeding to the furnace for coal combustion. This air heating is done in air preheater by means of flue gases on their way to chimney. Anyway, the superheated steam is forcefully expanded in the turbine and hit the turbine blades. As a result, the turbine rotates with high speed. The rotor shaft of alternator rotates by means of this rotating turbine. Generally, turbine shaft and rotor shaft are coupled together. After doing its work on the turbine blades, the exhausted steam has to be condensed immediately to give space to the steam behind it. This is done in a steam condenser by means of cold water circulation. These condensate from the condenser is fed to the boiler for further cycle. During this cycle, some water may be lost, which is compensated by feeding water from external source. The water circulation is done in the condenser by means of water available in natural sources, like rivers, canals, lakes, etc. The coal is burnt in the boiler, and the ash produced after the completion of combustion. The coal is removed to the ash plant, and then delivered to the ash storage plant for disposal. That was a basic introduction of steam power plant. Keep serving electrical4u.com. Thank you.